Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. This is episode 108 of the Outer Rim Transmission podcast. We're coming to you on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're trying out a different time on the podcast going live. You can also check us out after the fact on the docket for tonight. We're catching up with all of the latest Star Wars news that's been trickling out, but we will be going also a lot into the closing of Galactic Starcruiser, as well as what our ideas would be to make a great Star Wars hotel in the future. So I'm joined by the full crew. We got Milton, who's temporarily unavailable, who will be back, but we're also joined, oh, there he is, and we're also joined by Ben. How's it going? We'll start off with Milton first. How's it going, man? It's been a couple weeks. I know we've been missing each other here and there.
Look, good, man. Overall, life gets in the way, as we have going on all the time. But it's good to be back. Can't wait to talk some Star Wars. I'm sure the topic that we're going to discuss tonight is going to bring a lot of great discussion because we pretty much called it because it's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about where Star Wars is looking and going to go in the future. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Heck yeah, there's been a lot going on, but also not so much. But the things that have been going on have been pretty earth-shaking and rattling for Star Wars. But anyway, how's it going, Ben?
Good. Had a really good weekend for Memorial Day weekend. Had a nice little birthday party cookout, which was always good. Always great having cookout food and ice cream cake, one of my favorite things. So it was a good time today. And then, what a good way to wrap up the weekend by talking about Star Wars.
Oh, heck yeah. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the States, so it's a big party weekend. It's kind of the unofficial start of the summer, at least on the East Coast here where I am. It's actually very nice weather. It's usually rainy and windy and not so warm, but we actually lucked out this year. I've been getting a lot of memories. Coming up in Facebook about Star Wars Celebration 2022 over there in Anaheim. It's been 1 year. I was over there last year, and Man, so many fun times, so many fun memories. I have videos on the YouTube channel if you guys want to go live vicariously through my adventures over there in California. I'm gonna definitely try to get out there again, but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about earlier in the week. Have you guys had any notable Star Wars run-ins or anything to note the last couple weeks?
Oh man, I'm trying to think right now. Except for the times where I text you guys about the games that I bought most recently, I haven't watched any of the movies at least the past couple weeks. Again, I've kind of been getting away from Star Wars, and that's just, like I said, not on purpose, just with stuff that's in the way. I haven't really had that one big Star Wars moment. It's always on my mind because it's part of my life, and like my brother and I, when we do get together, we talk about it, but I haven't played any games, haven't read any books. It's very rare that I don't have Star Wars in my life, like directly.
Yeah, and I fooled Ben a little bit, I think, this week because I was at my local gaming shop and there's a video store. I know it's crazy to think there's for the young kids out there, like, what's a video store? Yeah, there's still a video store that exists in Hamilton / Yardville, Central New Jersey over here. It's called Video Express, and it used to be a rental store, and well, now they basically 90% of that store is like just every video game ever released. It's like, Milton, you would actually love it here because I've sent you a couple of pictures of like, I kid you not, I went to pick a game without even looking from an entire like several shelves of PlayStation 1 games. I just like, oh look, a PlayStation game. I pulled out, it's a Republic Commando. I'm like, yeah, I would pull like this thing randomly out of a stack of thousands of games. And then I continued to look around and I seen Shadows of the Empire in 64. I seen like some random like Darth Vader controller for a PC, I guess, because it doesn't even look like PlayStation. Like there's crazy stuff I was finding in that store.
Oh yeah, that Darth Vader controller. All right, so a cool story about that one actually. I'm pretty sure that's the one, Chris. You might have to test it out, but that's the one I think I remember from Revenge of the Sith that came out that has the built-in games in it. Like it has if that's not the one. If that's not the one, I'm pretty sure it is because I showed my cousin the picture today because I was like, dude, look at this. This is what we had when we were younger. And you plug it in and it has like the opening attack sequence in space. It has Anakin versus Count Dooku, I think. It has Grievous versus Kenobi. And, it's like that old-fashioned, like, 90s type of graphics, moving left and right type deal, battling and stuff. But I am pretty sure that's the one with the built-in games if you plug it in.
I had no freaking clue, but I didn't even know that exists. I didn't even know that exists. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, like when you sent us those pictures this week, I had to do a double take because I was like, oh man, wait, because at first I was like, did Milton find something? And then I looked and it was like, oh, Chris sent the pictures. I was like, dang, because normally I'm used to like Milton sending all these like retro pictures, so that was cool. Seeing you getting out and finding some old retro games.
Yeah. I did see Revenge of the Sith. I seen that was there, and I said, oh my gosh, why is this game not backwards compatible yet?
Yeah.
The game's fire. I don't understand like why they don't even like remake it just for all the next gen systems. I know we'll get into gaming throughout the year as we always do, but games like Revenge of the Sith or Obi-Wan for Xbox or what's another good one, like Battlefront 1 and 2, the original, like would think those companies like Lucasfilm or EA or Frostbite or whomever would say, oh my God, these are still the popular games that the 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds that play them now, where high school kids or elementary school kids played it then, like they would still play it now. Like they should make it backward compatible. Like I would buy them. Like, and here's why I know there's a market for these games, especially for the games that are nostalgic for our generation. There's one video game brand, and Ben, you'll know this. EA Sports College Football. Okay, that game been in production for almost 10 years because of the whole licensing thing.
Yeah,
next summer.
Yeah, they're bringing it back next summer. Every young guy who's in their 30s or 40s going to buy that game. It's been gone for 10 years.
Yep.
Me and my buddies, we always talk about it. They can say the game is going to be $200. We're dropping the money on it because that's how much we want it.
Well, I guess we're buying a new system finally then.
No. I always told my boys, I said, that's the only way I'm getting a PS5. Because when that game comes out, literally for that whole week, I'm playing NCAA football because it's childhood, it's nostalgic, and it's a sport that I love. I still have the NCAA footballs for PlayStation 2 upstairs in my bed, and because they're still fire. But even with Star Wars, and I'm looking at this market, fans of Star Wars want their old games back. Fans of Star Wars will buy those games for hundreds of dollars if they said, "Oh, we're going to convert Obi-Wan to Xbox." What's the new Xbox brand?
Series X
Xbox X and S.
Like they will spend the money and play that game. Knights of the Old Republic would have been a great example to test that out right there because they were going to remake that.
Well, apparently they are. Now they updated it, and they said they are now from some developer like a day ago.
Yeah. Okay. So just a quick rundown on that Knights of the Old Republic potentially not happening thing. So basically, where that came from was the person that initially said that they weren't reporting that as a report. They were saying that they forgot to note and separate that they were doing their opinion hat versus their reporter hat, So that's the little caveat with the Knights of the Old Republic story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you the three of us here. I'm telling you right now, if or when they make that game, and they said we tweaked it, we made it backwards compatible. It's more like it looks like more modern day games, but it's going to feel very similar to what we know. We're all getting it.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no one who's a true Star Wars fan is going to say, oh, I'm not going to touch that game. Oh no, you're buying it. Because it'll remind you of your childhood.
I just hope it's good. Now here's the thing, right? Like you make a game that's a 10 out of 10 in a lot of people's books. People pride Knights of the Republic as the best RPG of all time, and it's 20 years old, and they're still calling it the best RPG. So like, I'm almost afraid for them to remake the game because there's almost no possibility that remake is going to be anywhere near as good as like the way we imagined the first game. Right. So that's why I'm trepidatious about like maybe they shouldn't even remake it because I know it can't be as good.
Right. And Chris, you make a great point. You're not wrong. However, again, I know you. you will buy that game, even though you have your concerns. You're still going to get it to say one that you have
day one,
and two you want to play it. Because honest to God, if they would make Star Wars Arcade, the arcade game, into backwards compatible, I'm buying that game. I've always in my life.
well, here's the thing, guys. Like, I'm like, from my point of view, I'm like begging Nintendo to make all of the Star Wars games onto the Switch. Like, I'll go buy a $300 Switch right now if they put Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron, even the NES games on there from Super Nintendo. If they do that, I'll go buy a Switch tonight. Like,
I'm not joking. Look, I will legit get, because the only games I want to get for PS5 is, I was thinking Knights of the Old Republic, Spider-Man 2, NCAA football.
You gotta play Spider-Man 1 first. Wait, did you play Spider-Man 1?
Or Survivor. I will shell out the $500. Like, I got money. That's never been my issue. It's just the fact that, like, I like playing my PS4. I've always been in love with it. However, I will make the sacrifice needed to get a PS5 depending on the game that come out. Because there's not many games that I like and for the current generations of games.
I don't disagree. They've been kind of dropping the ball with the quality and the frequency of good games. Like, it's almost year 3 and we're finally starting to get good stuff out.
well, that's how it feels. It feels like every year, like, the only game I'm ever interested in is
Starfield.
Madden or Star Wars. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still have my PS3 that I just played a couple weeks ago. I have Force Unleashed 1 and 2, okay? And I have like maybe 20 games for that system. Compared to my PS4, I only have like maybe 10 maybe.
Yeah.
My PS2, I got like 20 plus games upstairs.
Well, that was the heyday of the Sony era.
Yeah, my Super Nintendo is right down here, and I got like 30 games on that still. Like, because the game, there's always good games within like that. There's never just like that one type of game where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna play this. I can buy multiple types of games for the systems. How dope it was. Now it's limited. It's pickings. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend money on something I don't like. Like, I don't like Skyrim. I don't like all that trash, in my opinion. But they don't. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you there. Like, that's how it is with gaming a lot of times. I feel like these days it's just like, if it's not like, because I don't know, it just seems like a lot of games nowadays, it's just relying on like, it's all just the head-to-head, like Fortnite or the Halo head-to-head or the Call of Duty head-to-head, and it's like, I just want a good story game or whatever. That's why, like, I enjoyed Lego. I'll play Jedi Survivor eventually. I'm excited for Starfield this September, actually my birthday. I'm super excited for that. That's literally my birthday, so that's going to be like my birthday gift to me. But I'm so excited for that game just for like the expansiveness, but it's just like I don't know. I'm super excited to see hopefully where Star Wars goes with their gaming. Hopefully we get more backwards compatible things.
There. I'm sorry to interrupt because I'm actually like tying this into another podcast that I listen to that's nostalgic.
Yep.
I'm a huge Mighty Ducks mark. I love those movies when I was a kid, and in the podcast they were talking about like they did that stupid reboot called Mighty Ducks Game Changers that's on
Disney Plus. Did this cut off Disney Plus or something?
It's trash. Like,
they removed it with Willow, I think, like this week.
Yeah, like I watched season 1.
Yeah,
it was season 2. I didn't even finish the first episode.
Oh my gosh!
And the person in the podcast talking about how like the Mighty Ducks is still a very popular brand among people that are in their 30s and 40s. Because we were kids when those movies came out, and now that those characters are adults, we're adults. We all relate to them. So when they did the new show, they didn't bring a proper nostalgia where they connected the old fans with potential new fans, which turned us all off. This ties into my point with Star Wars when it comes to the video games, stuff like that, or even with the movies, but mostly video games. Like, you make these games, except for Star Wars Survivor and Fallen Order, which has been a hit. Like those, they've hit on those, clearly. And is Star Wars and I guess Disney in this nature, they forget that their fan base is still those 30, 40 some close to 50-year-old fans who grew up with the property. Like you
Mm-hmm.
that market.
And I think that's going to definitely tie into our discussion later on. At least I'll have a few points on that exact thought.
Well, here's the
With
thing to think
theme
about,
park
guys.
hotel.
Well, here's the thing to think about too, guys. That's a good point you raised, Milton. So, like, if you think about it, the 50-year-old fans right now were our age when Phantom Menace was coming out 20-some years ago. They were like 29, 30. Like, they were our age. So, like, why not play off that nostalgia? Because those people would have nostalgia potentially from the prequels as well and things like that. So, like, I feel like, you know, that really ties in with, like, the video game stuff because so many of those video games in the early 2000s and then the late 90s, like, I loved, even though the game gets, like, butchered by everybody, I still love the just battle them out Masters of Terrascasi game. Like, I love that old game. And I wish that was on, like, you know, backwards compatible for Xbox and PlayStation and everything. Like, that was a great one back in the day. I remember.
I still play. What's it? Galactic Republic.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars one for play. That game's so good.
What
Like
game?
it came 2008, I think, and it's still fire. I was just playing that a couple weeks ago.
Wait, Galactic Battlegrounds?
No, it's called Galactic Heroes or something. No, it's Galactic Republic or Republic Heroes.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, it's like in between seasons 1 and 2 of Clone Wars.
Oh wait, that game for the Wii? Is it like a lightsaber game?
PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Like, it's fire, Chris. Like, you would like that game.
It's like a fighting game, like a dueling game.
It's like a lot like you are like actually like you're walking around like type stuff. Like it's you'll have to
How
look
have
it
I
up.
never played the game? I never even heard of it.
Played it, Chris or Ben?
Yeah, yep. I'm pretty sure we used to have that when we had the old PS2 back in the day and PS3.
Anyway, so a lot of releases came out this week. A lot of releases. Some of them you guys will like because they're Legends re-releases. So first off, we have the Legends re-releases of Republic Commando Hard Contact, Yoda Secret Rendezvous, and Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void. These are all part of the Legends Essential trade paperback collections. Have you guys read any of these stories?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I've read all three of those before.
Oh,
The Dawn of the Jedi one, that one, I mean, that was years and years ago. But the I would say the one I like the most out of the three is the Republic Commando Hard Contact one, just because for me, anyways, like the whole you know, I was so into those Republic Commando books in general, just because, you know, that was right around the time of the game, and I loved the game. So, like, you know, I was reading the books with the game and all that stuff. So, like, I would say, you know, going off of our, you know, perfect transition from our nostalgia gaming piece of this podcast. But if you're going to pick up, say, Republic Commando on, like, the Xbox store or get an old copy of Commando, you know, I would say pick up the old game for $10 on the Xbox store and then read these books alongside it, and it just makes the game that much better, in my opinion, because it just, like, you know, it just adds a little bit more, and it's just those books are great.
Yeah, I had that for PS3.
Yeah, basically the Rainbow Six version of a Star Wars game. It's like just tactical, Geonosian slime getting blasted everywhere, and the Trandoshans. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't think I've read the books. I think I have them stored like on my computer somewhere for audio. I know I probably do, but I'm looking at the covers right now, and those covers are hard. Like they look good. Like these books, this actually now makes you want to go and listen to them if I have them.
Yeah. Like the Dawn of the Jedi is the first book in Star Wars timeline. 25,000 years. It ties into these comic books that I have as well in the Epic collection of Tales of the Jedi or something like that. So yeah, I'm planning on maybe starting from the very beginning and working my way forward. I've already read a lot of the Old Republic stuff, so that's just a couple more things left. So yeah, that's gonna get done after I finish the Witcher series, which I think I have 2 more books. There's a little bit of a lull in the Star Wars books finally because there was quite an avalanche of stuff I've been trying to keep on top of ever since I got out of Celebration a month ago. But as far as current continuity, there's several other releases we have. We have Edge of Balance Precedent, which is a Phase 2 manga. So if you're a fan of that kind of medium of storytelling, you got a Star Wars manga focused on the character of a Wookiee Jedi named Arkoff. You also have the comics for this week. You have Hyperspace Stories number 5, which is a story about Asajj Ventress and how she is dealing with Dooku as a pretty aggressive teacher that is punishing her with lightning, and how she's not trying to deal with that much anymore. So it's kind of a cool take on a story that's meant for all ages, but it does get pretty dark for an all ages story from Dark Horse.
That's interesting. So they have Dooku in that punishing her with lightning and stuff?
Yeah.
You know what? I am pretty sure it's been a minute since I watched the second season or the first season of Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. I'm pretty sure Dooku does that to her in the Tartakovsky series, actually.
What, to
Ventress, doesn't he zap her when they're training? I think.
I don't remember if he zaps her. I
don't remember.
I know Anakin kind of does not the lightning, but how he trains Ahsoka is kind of like mirroring that. How he trains of the Jedi short story where he has the troopers with the stun blast.
Yep.
Reminds me of that.
Yeah. So that was a very cool story. There was all cool stories this week. We also had High Republic issue number 10, which completely wraps up the Battle of Jeddah story that's happening in Phase 2. And something I think that you'd really enjoy, Milton. We have the Darth Vader Black, White, and Red issue number 2. Now, I know everybody out there is alongside with me when they heard another Darth Vader comic. I'm like, the sun revolves. The Earth revolves around the sun, and we get more Vader comics is essentially what happens these days. Even though there's another Vader series going on, they're like, oh, we're going to make this other Vader series, and I'm just like face palming. Like, come on, guys. Like, give me a Quinlan Vos story. Give me a story about Jango Fett. No, we'll just do the 50th Darth Vader story. But this one is actually really cool. So if those of you are unaware, the Red, White, and Blood series from Marvel takes very popular characters like Wolverine and I forget who else, but is the uber ultra violent mature take on these characters with blood and guts and everything else. So they essentially have done that with Star Wars. Of course, they can't use blood in the title because it's Star Wars and Disney, so they just use red. But basically, it's like a no bars hold on this whole story where you're seeing people getting chopped in half by doors and just getting wrecked by Vader.
Dang, that sounds really good.
Yeah, so it's really cool because it's hey, what happens when people think they got Vader? Oh, they got him. They got his suit deactivated. He's in this thing. This guy has him yeah, Vader's done. No, definitely not, because now Vader's gonna use the Force and just machete all these people to death and turn a chop house into a slaughterhouse essentially. And it's all that red and black and white graphics inside the comic book. So I actually quite enjoyed it because it is giving you that Rogue One kind of vibe, where it's just Vader on a wrecking ball, Vader on a killing spree kind of thing. So there you go. Those are the comics, the stories you can see. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that, Chris? So, and this should have been my Star Wars from last week. Now that I think about it, speaking of comic books, because I don't know if you know, I do have some of the Vader Down comics or the Vader comic series when they first. So, and last week at this comic book store that's in the town that I work in, I did stop over there to see if they had the the Vader Down series, because I actually want to collect those. And so I might have to actually look into these other ones that you've mentioned, just because I have them all, majority of them here at my house, and I do want to get back. I do want to get back into collecting some comic books, because I do have because I'm a huge Green Arrow fan.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have a lot of those comic books here, actually crossed over there in my bookshelf. But I want to get back into collecting these Vader ones, so I want to check those out for sure. So you have to send that to us in the chat about what that's called and all the Vader collect, because that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah. What's cool about the Vader red, white, and black, white, and red, whatever the heck it's called, is it's only going to be a 4-issue miniseries, so you're not going to have to break the bank to have the whole story. And the interesting thing about this is there's 3 different stories every time, and one of the stories is an ongoing story. So one of the stories is going to revolve around each issue. but everything else is it's a single story. So like for instance, the other two stories in this one where Vader goes onto this ship of aliens that ended up being genetic mutations of people that voluntarily became like these like what are the alien looking or predator looking creatures. And then another one is where he's like basically inspiring this kid to the idea of power. So they're very cool little one-shot stories, other than the first one of every issue. So it's very easy to digest, I guess you could say, rather than like jumping on the Vader bandwagon now, and it's like already in issue number 33 of the ongoing one. So.
Right.
There you go. So, moving to the news now, you know, we're catching up. So, some of the stuff might seem like it's old news, and that's because it is. Because guess what, guys? I don't think we're going to have much Star Wars news until after Indiana Jones is done being promoted. Because, like, that's their next big thing that Lucasfilm is focusing on now that Ahsoka won't be out until after. But catching up, and unfortunately, this is news that you never want to hear, obviously. But we have the actor of Ray Stevenson passed away. This guy played the Punisher in Punisher, what is it, Punisher War Games or something like that. He also played a character in Rome. And he was also already a voice of Gar Saxon, and he was going to be in the upcoming Star Wars Ahsoka series coming out in August. So, yeah, the guy died at the age of 58. I think we heard that he was on the set of a movie and they had to rush him out. He was in Italy, and nobody knows the cause of death. At least they haven't revealed it yet, or if they will ever. But regardless of the fact, it's like the last I seen this guy, he was on the Star Wars Celebration live stage literally a month ago where I was over there in England, and he was like he was one of the most excited people I've seen interviewed that entire time, because I went back and watched like all of it, because even being there I can't see everything. So I was like, oh wow, this guy's like, he was on stage at the live stage with Lars Mikkelsen, who's going to be playing Thrawn in the same series, and that guy was just like so excited. He was like, yeah, I get to use a lightsaber. I always wanted to, like, he was just absolutely like loving the crowd energy, and to hear that this guy passed away, he's not, you know, it's just terrible. So have you guys heard or watched anything that Ray Stevenson has been in? Because I'm not really familiar, other than not realizing that he played Gar Saxon.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of his work. Like you mentioned one of the roles, Rome, that came out in like mid 2000s. I want to say like 2004, 2006, whatever. Rome was on HBO, and you guys, I don't know if you ever seen it. You haven't seen it, go check it out. It's only 2 seasons. He's a significant character in those 2 seasons. And he's a badass. Like you think he's a badass in Star Wars? See Rome, and you're gonna come back and say, "Damn, I hope he's like this in Star Wars." He was also in the show Dexter. I think it was like season 7 or something. He was like some like Russian mafia guy in that. He did a hell of a job. He's an overall good actor. He's always been like a tough, aggressive type character or actor that he would play those type of characters. Yeah, it was just sudden because he's only 58. He looks healthy. He looks like he can just kick anyone's ass if you approached him. And like you mentioned, he was energetic at at Star Wars Celebration. So it was shocking. Hopefully when it is revealed, it doesn't come out to say that, it was self-induced in the sense of him like doing drugs or whatever it was, because I don't know his history. But hopefully it's just natural causes, because it would suck if it come out that, he had a lot of issues, unfortunately. But we'll hopefully that's just not the case.
Yeah. Ben, do you have any experience with any of the stuff he's been in?
Yeah, I watched Rome as well back in the day when that was on. That's a very good show. Like for anybody to if anybody's looking for a new show to watch, definitely check that out sometime. That's a good show. And he was very good in that, as you said, Milton. And then of course, we saw him as Gar Saxon in Star Wars, and then here upcoming in the Ahsoka show as Balin. Like he, from all we've seen, like he looks like he's going to be an awesome character in the Ahsoka series. He'll probably be like one of the main villain type characters for the show. And then the thing is about him, he so like you said, Chris, like with the panels when he was up there with Lars, he was so energetic and so excited to like be in Star Wars and all this stuff. And he even told like a funny story, like when his agent called him and connected him with the people from Lucasfilm about the part, and he was like, "What? Let me guess. You're calling me about a villain role because I'm an old British guy." And they were like, "Well, yeah." So like, it was kind of funny hearing like that, but he was super excited about it, and also like just like talking about that panel a little more. Like, obviously this is kind of like speculation at this point, but since they brought him specifically out with Lars, it makes me think him and Lars are going to be the main two villains of the Ahsoka show. Like it really makes you think that, because like, why would they bring out just some, if Ray's only going to be in like 2 episodes or something, like why would they bring him out with Thrawn? Like, I think he's going to be a significant part of the series.
Yeah, perhaps like a pseudo Jorah C'baoth or something like that. Like, not exactly, but like some kind of Jedi war that Thrawn wants to ally himself with to have fights against other Force users, obviously.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. I think he's gonna be kind of like our pseudo like C'baoth type character, if I had to like guess.
Yeah. So he'll be sorely missed, especially after you finish watching. It's going to be such an eerie feeling, like, oh yeah, this guy does a great performance, and we'll never see him again. But you could always watch his previous works, and I think that's what I'm going to do to honor the guy. Like, I tried watching Rome, and I think I was 10 years old when it came out, so I didn't exactly have the best access to it, because like I would watch it like behind my dad's back when he was watching it, like kind of creeping up in the room, like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I think I'm too young for this. What's going on with these ladies, and what's going on with all this blood? What? Oh, this is HBO. Get out of here, son. Or whatever." It's like,
Yeah, no, I think if you watch it now, you'll appreciate it more. And like I said, his character is really funny. I know I think he's always drunk in the show. I think that's what his character is, like a drunk, but he's a badass drunk. But yeah, watch it. Check it out. It's definitely a show that you will appreciate more. One, because of the history of, the Roman Empire and everything.
oh,
but
yeah.
if you're a fan of Ray Stevenson, I mean, you'll definitely be in your feels, especially how his character develops throughout that particular show.
So moving on to more news that definitely wasn't going to be something that Disney and Lucasfilm were definitely proud of putting out there, but we've gotten news that Galactic Starcruiser, that Star Wars hotel that opened up, I think, just over a year ago, has now been announced to have its final voyages in September. Yes, it is indeed closing. They tried this whole experiment of this, real life RPG, if you will, for 2 nights, and we already seen this coming, because I think earlier in the summer or earlier in the year, they already were like just deleting some dates, because apparently there was not enough people signed up on certain dates to even warrant the staff to get paid, I guess, to work those days. If there's only, 50 people out of 100 rooms, like they can't really warrant these people or whatever it is. But basically, this thing is closing. Milton, I'm going to throw it over to you because I know you have a lot to say about this one.
Yeah, it's trash. Like, I've been saying it since day one. I'm just calling it like it is, because, for one, I think what turned us off from what I remember was the pricing of it. For what, 2-3 days?
2 days. Two and a half days, 5K.
Yeah, I'm like, are you right now? Like, for a 2-day cruise, I'm not spending 5K. Like, that's a down payment to put a pool in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just keeping it 100. So, like, to me, when you sent that to us, what was my reaction? I think I said, not surprised. I laughed. I said, because it's not sustainable. And for them to sit there and like put all these extra things where you have to charge extra for like food and all this other stuff. Cruises are cheaper than that.
Oh yeah. And they're a lot longer.
Like, this is where I get kind of weird about Disney sometimes, because I know they're in the business of making money, as they should be. They are an organization, company that should be always profiting off of their products. I get that. However, it's very disrespectful and a slap in the face for a family, let's say a family of 2, 3 to 4, who wants to bring their child to this cruise and say, hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to get a real vacation as a family. We won't get these often, but I want to spend 5,000 plus on 2 days. What are the memories? And weren't we hearing about a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't really happening there, like that was promised that was actually not coming to fruition?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, are you serious right now? Like, you're Disney. You're supposed to be the upper echelon of any organization when it comes to putting on cruises, entertainment, when it comes to families and kids. And you pretty much, and I'm just use this phrase, you shit the bed with this particular product. And now you're seeing that you have to let it go and you lost a whole bunch of money on it. And hopefully they will reassess, lick their wounds and say, hey, we got to do a better job. We want to bring this back or similar product back. Because, again, it could work if they do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's all of that. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Like, the people that were fortunate to go, whether it be, the journalists that went out there to review it, or just the people that went out there, no one actually said it was a bad experience. Like, everybody came away like, okay, like, this was great. This was awesome. I love this. But the barrier to entry for the majority of the public is just too high for us to even get out there in the first place. Yeah, because it's 2 days. You go out there, I think it's like 1 p.m. You start, you load in, and then you're out like 2 days later. You go to you go to the park, you fly your shuttle one day for a couple hours to go to Galaxy's Edge, Batu. You do the couple rides there, and then you come back and you do some more activities and stuff like that. But yeah, throw it over to Ben. What's your initial reaction to this?
I laugh too much about this. I can admit that, but it's what happens when you don't read the room as a company. Like, Disney has some good things, but they also have their weaknesses as well. And this is one of their weaknesses, is they weren't reading the room. Like, when you're designing something, an experience like this, like, if you're talking about like potential, like the cost, like if I'm spending $5,000, like I should be able to stay there 3 weeks or something. I mean, not 2 days. And then the thing is, as well, it's like, you're not reading the room on your customer base. Like, what normal, average, say, even middle class family of 4 could like afford that, and the plane tickets to go down there, and everything else, transportation, etc. Like, there's so many factors. Like by the time you fly and do everything, you're probably spending like $6 or $7 grand total.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way, like, that's even worse. And like, it's so like inept and not reading the room, because like we all said, like, my dad, he just went on a cruise a couple months ago, and he spent, like, I think his ticket for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, it was like a Caribbean cruise and all that crap, and it was like $1,500 or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's
for
how
2
cheap
weeks,
they are. I looked it up too. They are so cheap.
Yeah, for 2 weeks, and he had all his food and all that junk included.
Wow.
And $1,500 for 2 weeks at a beautiful cruise versus 2 days at a not a little, but whatever, a Star Wars hotel. Like, I'm gonna take the cruise 10 out of 10 times. So it's just like, I just don't think they were reading the room. And I just laughed about it, because it's like, that's what you get for getting greedy with it. Or, even if, say, so from Disney's point of view, say if you have to charge $5,000 for operating expenses or whatever, and all that, like, that means you should have scaled back some of the features of the hotel, or like, if the operating expenses are that high, then you should have scaled the features back, because whoever was like in charge of potentially, like, say, the PR or things around, like, overall, like, the business, like the strategy, the plan of doing this, you aren't looking at the big picture thing of, like, any normal family that looks at that and goes, hey, you want to go on this $5,000 2-day trip? Everybody would just laugh it out of the park. So it's just like, I don't think they were reading the room properly when they were even planning this before they even built the hotel.
Yeah, it's laughable, because and part of this too is it's the arrogance with Disney, because I just pulled this up right now, this article, and this is what upsets me about this whole thing, because now they're trying to spin it to say, oh, we it's recognized as a great thing, but we learned from it. And I'm gonna read it to you word for word, this short paragraph.
If it was great, it'd be open still.
Yeah. So it says, I quote, Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser is one of our most creative projects ever and has been praised by our guests and recognized for setting a new bar for innovation and immersive entertainment. This premium experience gave us the opportunity to try new things on a smaller scale of 100 rooms, and we will take what we've learned to create a full future experience that will reach many of our guests and fans, Disney says in a statement. And I read that, and instead of them saying the right thing, which they're just covering from what I'm seeing. Instead of this, they should have said, you know what, guys, we tried this, it didn't work. We made a lot of mistakes, and when it comes to this, yes, we took a risk as we should, and as you should, but we failed, and we're going to get better. We acknowledge that maybe the price was too high. We acknowledge maybe we just were too ambitious, but we're going to bounce back and make this right. Nope, this statement reads to me, it was successful, but we just had some flaws with it, so we decided to close it down.
Well,
the market told you had to do it.
Well, let me ask you this, Milton. Let's take it out of Disney Court for a second. So, if I'm Apple, and if my iPhone comes out and it has a flaw or a glitch in it, let me ask you this: if you're the CEO of Apple right now, do you just come out and cancel your iPhone, the flagship thing? Like, no, you don't. Like, what? Like, you cannot spin it that it was great because you wouldn't be canceling it if it was.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. Exactly. Because again, you can always have anyone say something was good, but really, what does the data, or the quote is, the numbers don't lie. What does the data tell you? The data is clearly there to say, hey, this isn't working. We need to reassess. It's okay to admit failure. And I think Disney struggles to do that because they're so arrogant at times. And it's like, what are y'all doing? Like, this is why the fans get upset with you. Don't play coy with us. Just say it, because we will relate. If you say we failed, we're going to get better next time.
Yeah, again, I think I kind of said it before, but just the fact that the RP element, I think that's what they mean by success. Because, from start to finish, this is basically it's more of an adventure, like a 24/7 adventure, and you're interacting with all these people, and they're all actors. So I think that's probably why the price is increased, because you got to pay all these people more money, because they're essentially like acting on the job at all points, and you have these musicians and all this kind of stuff going on. So for the small sample size that they had of the people that actually paid, I think they rated it probably in surveys as like, yeah, this was a positive experience, but the problem is you're not getting enough people to do the positive experience because the price is so high.
Well, I can have good reviews if I have 5 people reviewing my thing. Like,
yeah, true.
Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a shame that it didn't work out, because something like this, in theory, would be cool if it would work, or if it would be fairly priced. Like, that's the only thing. Like, why not? So instead of the $5K, why not just make it like a normal high-end hotel? Like, I don't know, $500 a night or something, or or something like that.
I mean, here's the thing, and I guess we could probably go into what the title of this episode is, like, what the ideal hotel Star Wars experience could be. I mean, I don't think people would be all that mad about this if there was 2 options. Like, there could be 2 separate hotels. One of them is for the super hardcore that want to do this thing. Obviously, it's not sustainable, though, because we see this failed. But, like, in a perfect world, you would have the option of doing this fully immersed 24/7. Oh my gosh, I'm in Star Wars with my friends for $5,000 for 2 days. But then over here, you have a $500 a night hotel where you're in immersion, and there's just not like missions you're doing. You're just going in. Yeah, you have blast doors for your hotel room. You got a space window. You got like the HoloNet on your TV. You have a really cool Star Wars bar you can hang out with. You can dress up and cosplay if you want, but you're not going to get like missions from Chewbacca and Ray, and you're not going to see like Kylo Ren battling Ray like in the rafters. You're not going to get like that level experience. But for the normal person, that's going to be enough to appease the normal person. So that way, it's like, okay, I went to a Star Wars hotel. Cool. I could check that off the list. Or the other person would be like, you can have the option for the other people to do the other thing. So I think if there's more options in general for people to get their foot in the door, then that would be the ideal situation, I would think.
Right. I mean, honestly, this is being my idea. Okay, I'm it's probably not the perfect idea. Let's just keep it 100. But why don't they just buy like a big old like plot of land out in like Montana or something, and just build like a Star Wars compound of like, like let's say they recreate Tatooine, or let's say like they have like a Tatooine like beach or something. Like make like a Tatooine type like beach, or a what do you call it, Naboo type like beach setting where like, okay, that's your hotel. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like turn it into a hotel in that nature. Like I'm sure the Caribbeans have those hotels on the beach. Like just turn that into Naboo, or turn that into like, Coruscant or something to that nature. I think you can make that work. And again, I'm sure if I had time to really think about it, I can come up with a better way of saying it. But the way they try to do it clearly didn't work or wasn't effective. I think there's ways that they can do it. I think if they just had their own like plot of like a city and turned it into it, that'd be kind of dope. Like I'd be into that. If they wanted to create a Wakanda, like they bought a plot of land out in the Midwest and turn it into Wakanda, boom, I'm there for it. Or they turn it into Coruscant or Tatooine, I'm there for it. Just make it reasonably priced, and I'm down for it. I mean, look, they have Disney World, for Christ's sake. I mean, Disney World is its own little city. So like, do that. Just replicate what you have. Just make it more individualized.
I'm gonna shout out Aaron Daly in our chat, loyal watcher of Outer Rim Transmission. She has a great idea. It would probably work if they had the hotel work as a normal hotel most of the year, and during certain times, like during certain times of the month or a quarter or something like that, they have the LARP experiences, like when they have the Star Wars nights in Disneyland. That's a really good idea. Like close down the hotel like maybe a couple days a year, and those people can like really get into it. I like that idea.
That'd be kind of fire. I mean, it's going to take some planning, but I think it could work. I mean, look, you have all these cosplayers out there at these conventions that put these conventions on throughout the country. I'm sure these people have the ideas already drawn up like in their little notebooks of how to recreate, like to turn an area into like Naboo or turn it to Coruscant and say, hey, let's make this a full week experience. Like, how dope would that be?
Hell yeah.
I just think that there's ways to make it work, because I would love to do something like that. I would love to say, hey, I traveled to, Portland, Oregon, where they have this big old like plot of land. They turned it into Camino, because it rains up in the Northwest all the time. They turn it, you know what I'm saying? Like that, how dope would that?
But
to Camino,
yeah,
like that'd be fire. Oh, we got a plot of land in Texas where this is going to be Jakku. We're going to represent this as Jakku. Or we got a plot of land in the Everglades. We're going to turn that into Felucia. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can make that work. Like Disney got money like that. Like, you can make this work for you.
Well, see, here's the thing off that idea. I think another way they could incorporate something like that with a variety of places is even get a plot of land and wherever it may be, and build like a general hotel, and then you outfit the hotel completely every year based on whatever Coruscant, Naboo, whatever. And then the thing is, it's just like movies. Once you have the set built, you have the pieces. So you can just put them in a big warehouse somewhere, like Indiana Jones style, huge warehouse somewhere, and then you bring them in and switch them out every season. You get Coruscant, Mandalore, Mustafar, Tatooine, Naboo, wherever, and like you could do that.
Here's the thing,
and then
you kind of just even gave me a similar idea with that. What you just, I think they can get a big ass warehouse, like turn it into whatever they want it to turn into each time. They say, okay, the first quarter of the year, this is Hoth. because and
or even to match the seasons like November, December.
Right? Because isn't there a hotel? This is in real life. There's a hotel in Iceland that they like.
Iceland.
That's Iceland type hotel where they like make it like that. You have the blueprint right there to say, okay, we're going to get a warehouse. We're going to pretty much make that particular like hotel, but turn it into like Hoth, or turn it into whatever snow planet, or we're going to take this part of the warehouse and make it into this part, like this type of hotel of Star. You know what I'm saying? Like you can make this work.
Yeah.
They got treat it like a movie set, but it's going to be more permanent because you need the electrical, you need the food, you need the running water, plumbing, all that type of stuff. But yeah, they can make that work. Like that'd be dope. And it's environment. That's the thing. You can control the environment. So
well, with that, even bouncing off of that, so you have that for a potential hotel area, and then also in terms of say the amusement park side of things, there are so many things they could do amusement park side. Like they could, like, I mean, I saw someone post this on Twitter, so I can't take credit for the idea, but like, why not make a roller coaster ride where every single car is a different pod racer or something, or like a different ship? Like, because like just imagine that you and me could be sitting inside like Anakin's pod racer, and then Milton could be behind us in Sebulba's or whatever, like stuff like that. Like, why not do like that? Would be so cool. So I think that's a potential idea. And then also, so bouncing off of our like beginning opening discussion about nostalgia and things, I think like this isn't even me being someone like not a huge fan of the sequels, but I think they should have leaned into the nostalgia more, because Star Wars fans are nostalgic.
What I was
like plain and simple, Star Wars fans are nostalgic. That no matter if they're the most diehard like progressive like new Star Wars fans, in their hearts they're nostalgic. So like, why not lean into the original trilogy a little more?
Yep.
Or why not lean into, especially for like our age range guys, like 20s, 30s, lean into the prequels, like, or even, I don't know, this could be like really ambitious, but why not, like, if you're going to do a hotel, why not do like one level prequels, one level sequels, one level OT?
I was gonna say.
Like,
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Continue, Chris. Continue, Chris.
Yeah.
I keep stealing your ideas.
That was literally what I was about to say, but I'll bounce off it even more because you're exactly right. Right. You could go back and see our reactions a year and a half ago when they revealed this. It's like everybody else was like, wait, is this Star Trek or is this Star Wars? Because I get that they're trying to build out, like carve out, especially with Batu Galaxy's Edge, which I think that design is fine. And I think it looks really cool for Star Wars. But people originally were like, oh, it should have been Tatooine. Oh, it should have been Endor. Why is it this? Oh, they're trying to make their own mark in the continuity. And the same thing with Galactic Starcruiser. But I think that's even worse just because it was so clean, so ultra contemporary for Star Wars that it was like, why does it look like this? Like, I guarantee you, this thing would not be closing right now if that was a replica of a Star Destroyer or a Mon Calamari cruiser or something to that degree. The Death Star, I bet you it wouldn't be folding right now. There would probably be a ton of people that would rather pay $5,000 to go to something they know from their childhood rather than basically this whole new thing that they don't have any emotional attachment to.
Well, guys, just imagine this. Like, okay, let's go off the OT side of things for a minute. Imagine the pool they have there. Why not? We get the pool like outfitted where it looks like it's like the deck of a Star Destroyer or Death Star or whatever. But then like at the bottom of the pool, just like have a graphic like engraved where it looks like a Dianoga in the bottom of the pool or something. Just like little things like that would make it so neat. And I think it would just make things more enticing for fans, for one, but for two, like even like for your actors, like of course you get your Ray or whatever for the sequel stuff, but people would love to see like a Luke, an Obi-Wan, a Darth Maul roaming around the hallways at night or something, like like cool stuff like that. Like just imagine, Chris, I know like especially like with you like really being into the cosplay and stuff, just imagine if they're like, oh, like I don't know, after hours for adults, like 1 to 3 a.m. You search the hallways for like the Shadow Hunter Darth Maul or whatever, like stuff like that. Like it would be so cool. Like I just think they have so many options to play with, and to me it felt like it was almost more hastily put together than anything, like in terms of like planning and like thinking big picture wise, because like to me anyways, like I said, Star Wars fans are nostalgic. Like no matter what they say, they're nostalgic. And then heck, even incorporate some, I don't know, incorporate a little section for Clone Wars stuff or something. Like especially with the popularity of the Mandalorian stuff, like do that. Or like if you have a child, here's another one. If you have a child daycare in that hotel, have like an animatronic Grogu like sitting in the corner or something. Like, you know, just little things.
You gotta have Yoda, because Yoda's always teaching the younglings, right? So
and like Yoda with the younglings and Grogu.
But yeah, I mean, here's the thing with the whole construction of this is that there is a level of an organization where you pay $5,000 and there's no relaxing. I remember we were looking at the hour to hour itinerary.
And you feel like you have to go to everything.
You got to go to every single thing because you spent $5,000. So I feel like in my brain, I wouldn't be able to just kind of soak it in too much, because I wouldn't be able to just go to the bar for 3 hours if I wanted to and just like hang out talking to the bartender about the latest in Star Wars. You feel like you're constantly going because it's only 2 days. So you're boom, 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 boom. Or if you could just like rent a room for like 5 days, like you could just chill, you know?
And I was about to say that because that's one of my beefs with the original Starcruiser thing. It's like, if I'm spending all this money, it ain't going to be for 2 days. Because you're right. I want to be able to soak it in. One, I don't even have time to take pictures, I feel like, if I went to this. You know, so it's like, why would I spend all this money when I can't really appreciate the experience? Because, you know, Disney wants these fans to continue to come back, and they want word of mouth.
Yep.
Oh. If Disney was smart, so listen to Uncle Bob. I know you're listening to us.
Could be.
Uncle Bob's our number one fan.
Yeah, they brought you back to right the ship when it comes to Disney. You need to understand, like, you want your people, you say your people, us, to soak this in. Say, hey, I was there for a week. This place was fire. We got this. I was able to absorb this. I was able to relax. I was able to see this. I was soaking it in, and then that's going to snowball to get more people, more money, more receipts. Like, if Bob, as we know, he's a smart businessman, he wants us to soak it in and continue to talk about it. I mean, like, look how when The Force Awakens came out, word of mouth was the reason why that movie made as much money as it did. Because every fan, old, new, or future, was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to tell my mom. I'm going to tell my grandma. I'm going to tell my grandfather. It was bringing everybody. And people are going 8 or 4 times in a row to go see it. Yeah. Now, obviously, price is different for a movie. But I'm saying is, if I'm telling my friends who are okay Star Wars fans, but want to go, hey, you know what? Why don't you go check out that Star Wars cruise? It's about $2,500. You get a good week. You get all this food included. You get and if you're a nerd like us, you get to see X, Y, and Z. Do this, do that. Guarantee you get some people to sign up. That probably wouldn't consider going to a Disney Star Wars cruise because of word of mouth and that people are saying, hey, this is a great experience that you can enjoy.
Yeah. And because that's perfect. That's another thing. We can end on that, or if anybody else has other points, but the idea is that the people talking on a Star Wars podcast weekly like us, they're the people that they should be drilling this into, the hardcore fans, because we're the ones that stick with them through a lot of ups and downs. We're kind of always there, whether or not we like certain things about the franchise, we're always there anyway. So if you can get us to go to something like this and then kind of evangelize it to the other people out there, because we're not rich, so how do they expect to get the really rich people to go to the Star Wars thing if they're not even vaguely into Star Wars? They're going to pick something else, a resort that Disney has. They're not even going to try the Star Wars one, because the $5,000 for them, it's like, oh, I'll just go to this other thing and chill for 5-6 days. But yeah, I think it's just that the target was way off for them initially to be like, hey, they should be bringing us guys in there that can afford it, and then we'll spread the word like we do with everything else with Mandalorian. That we've seen how that happened. The hardcore spread the word, and now it was a super mainstream thing with Grogu. If it wasn't for us, it probably wouldn't have ever gotten that big, right? So they should have looked a little bit further into the fandom itself, I think.
I agree. And
what?
My dad is almost 60. And again, he's the one that got me into watching Star Wars when I was, 10 years old. He's a fan of Star Wars, not as hardcore as I am, but his age gap, and movie came out 1977, so he would have been He would have been 10 years old when that movie came out. 10, 12 years old. So think about his generation. They're about to go into that retirement phase. You can pull that because they're all fans of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Pull them and to say, hey, you know what, honey? We're 70 years old. I remember them movies back in 1970 something in the 80s. They got a cruise. We're retired. We got money sitting around.
Yeah.
Let's go take a first cruise. Like, but then they see the reviews. Hey, these young guys who are in their 30s and early 40s are saying this is the greatest thing, and it's affordable for us old heads. Let's go check it out. We like this product. Like, imagine like the connectivity. You can multiple generations to your product if you actually do it right. Like it's possible, and you're right, man. That word of mouth is huge. Market it to the fans that are extra sweaty, who are going to get on these podcasts at 7:00 on a Sunday and promote your product for free. Free marketing. Like, come on.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing too, guys. Like the thing is, like, with that type of a hotel, there's just so many like things that you could do to please all those fans, like the prequel fans like us, or the OT fans like your dad, or the sequel fans. Like think about it this way. Like, even from the little details, like say the prequel side of things, like say the hot tub, I don't know, say the hot tub is like, you know, geared out where it looks like it's like you're sitting in a lava pit on Mustafar or something, or you know, or a you know, think about your rooms. Like, so for the prequel rooms, you could have them be like Jango Fett's room on Camino, like all, you know, spiced up, like looking nice and clean, like Jango's rooms. And then like the OT, you could have them kind of looking like, you know, like the Owen Lars, like the homestead rooms or whatever. And then the sequel trilogy, you could have them looking like whatever rooms that may come up, like Kylo Ren's room or something, like you know, something like that.
Oh yeah,
like,
they
there's so
can
many
get really...
little details they could do.
I didn't think about that because you could theme it.
Yeah,
and it's like, it was dope though because you could, like, honestly, let's be real here, guys. If we went there and we're like, yeah, we got this we got our room set up, and we get to go on the Hoth exhibit, and they got or they got to go to the Mustafar exhibit where they got a Mustafar, like, quote unquote hot tub. You know damn well we'd be acting too childish in that particular exhibit, saying, "Stay away from the high ground, or you're going to burn yourself."
Jumping into it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like children, and that's what's dope about that. You'd be like, you know what? I can act like a child slightly when I'm particular event. I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually particularly freezing to death in a hot tub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many options they could do on those type of things. And think, like, even from the food perspective side of things, like, say, like, each section, like the prequels, I know it's so easy to go with the prequels because they're so dynamic on locations, but like, say, like the Naboo area, you could have, I don't know, classy type food, or like the Mustafar area, I don't know, like spicy, like Thai food or something. And then, like, you know, the you know, different Camino seafood, like all kinds of things. Like, there's so many things. Like, if they would just take any I don't know, like competent fans like us, and like just literally just say, hey, we need someone to advise and consult, like, ideas just to throw out there, and like even bounce them off of, say, like a like whoever their lead, like, construction person is on the project, and like be like, hey, what's feasible, what's not, and like just bounce ideas back and forth, and I'm sure they could come up with something like that where it's prequel, OT, and sequel trilogy themed, because people would love that stuff. And in my opinion, if you give them a bunch of options like those three eras, I think in theory they would sell out better, because, you know, more people would rush to the sequels, or rush to the OT, or rush to the prequel trilogy. Like, you know, I think it would sell out versus a blanket era.
Hell yeah. So I think we've given Disney plenty of ideas. You know, I mean, obviously, they're probably on YouTube. They're like looking up like Starcruiser ideas. Our live stream could pop up for them. They might take a couple. I hope they do. They gotta go to the source of the fandom to figure this stuff out. And as Milton read off that response they had, I mean, I don't think they're gonna throw this out. And one final thing I'll say is, I really hope they don't scrap like everything they built. If anything, what they should do is at least open up portions of that, so people that are going to like Galaxy's Edge. Now, I don't know how far away it is, But like let people just walk through there for like because they have like the bridge and stuff. So at the very least, like just open it up for the public. Hey, you can walk through the halls. You can go to the lightsaber training thing. You could go to the restaurant, open up the restaurant to the mass public and have it as like a dinner show, like it is for just those people there. So I think there's something worth salvaging out of that, or maybe they will just turn it into a straight up hotel and just say, hey, there's no more RP element, but you can stay for a minimum of 3 nights or something like that for like fraction of the cost.
Hey, we'll know, like you said, they probably have people looking up ideas and stuff, and we'll know if they listen to our podcast, because if they take my Mustafar hot tub idea, I'm the only one that's mentioned that so far that I've noticed. So if that's in their new hotel, we know it came from here. I'm
gonna say this too, though. It's like, you know, you mentioned it, Chris. You said you hope they don't just scrap it. And here's the thing: I'll use a sports analogy. You know, when a franchise is going through a rebuild, or you know they're struggling, or they lost like their Hall of Fame player due to the retirement, you know, it's okay to rebuild. It's okay to trade some assets to bring in better assets to really plan for the future. So, like in this case, I think if Disney and Star Wars, Lucasfilm would say, "Listen, it didn't work. We got some assets. Let's reshuffle. Let's switch some things out. Let's try to bring in some new blood to hopefully get us a new way of seeing things and building something that's better and stronger." It's totally fine, and I'm cool with that. So hopefully they learn from their mistakes and they are willing to rebuild and just reassess and go from there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the most important thing, really. Now, I do have one important question though to ask you guys. So, since this Galactic Starcruiser was technically in canon, does that mean, Chris, in your opinion, does that mean are we going to get something in a book where it's like a little side paragraph saying, "Oh no, the Galactic Starcruiser got invaded by pirates" or something?
Oh man, well,
just like writing it out of canon.
Wait, no, that's interesting you say that. So there is a book. There's a comic book miniseries written by Ethan Sachs, writer of Bounty Hunters, and somebody that was on my panel for Star Wars Celebration. He had wrote a 5-issue miniseries that chronicled the entire lifespan of the Halcyon Legacy, the cruiser, and it was built in the High Republic era, and it goes all the way through the events of, as we see when you go to the ship, through the fall or the rise of the First Order with Rey and all that. So, and at one point it was owned by the Hutts. At another point it was owned by the Empire. At another point somebody else had it. So, I mean, when we get that story that we're gonna get with the Rey story 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, like. Maybe we'll just see it like scrapped on a junkyard planet in the background. Just like, oh wait, that's a good Easter egg to the Galactic Starcruiser that actually failed.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. We might get a little Easter. See, and honestly, something like that, I would respect Disney a little more if they would do something like that. Just like, hey, you gotta humor like you gotta be able to laugh at yourselves, and like something like that. It's just like be humble about it and go with it.
And so we would love to hear your guys' thoughts, just like Aaron and the Ray Side and everybody else that joins us in our chat rooms. We like to thank everybody that joined us tonight. Thanks, guys, for joining me for another fun podcast. It is great to be back with all 3 of us once again.
No, I listen, I'm glad to be back. Sorry that I missed the last few weeks with life in the way, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that Star Wars will bounce back, Disney will bounce back when it comes to their entertainment, as they normally will. So, but if you guys want to find me, I'm at Milton Weber 7 on Twitter, or if you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at Milton 7 Weber.
And Ben, where can people find you? What are you going to be talking about?
Yeah, you can find me talking about Star Wars as always on Twitter, or me working out as well. Like, I'm just slowly getting in really good shape. I'm down like 17 pounds now, so things are going well in that regard. But you can find me talking about either of those really on Twitter and Instagram, both at Real Ben Maynard.
All right, and you can find me on this very channel if you're watching, youtube.com/Starrapter, and you could listen to us on any podcast streaming service of your choice, Spotify, Google Play, Apple, all those. Make sure to rate us, make sure to leave us a comment after the fact. As far as what I'm doing on the channel, if you've seen last night, I started streaming Jedi Survivor. I might do a combination of streaming / recording because I might be playing the game in the morning before work or something like that. So it's not, well, I don't know. Maybe somebody in Australia like Hannah would watch me that early in the morning. Who knows? But I guess there's always somebody watching, I guess, around the world when you're on YouTube. But anyway, you can watch that content as it comes out to you. Make sure you hit that notification bell icon, because then you'll definitely know when I go live playing that for sure. But until next week, again, we are doing a new time slot on Sundays. We're aiming for 7 p.m. If there is a different time, we will alert you, as always, on all the social media. You can find me on twitter.com/Starrapter for the latest on all the gaming things that I'm up to and everything else around pop culture. But for Milton, for Ben, for Chris, a.k.a. Starrapter, it was great to be having this once again live for everybody out there. Thanks for watching. May the force be with you always. End transmission.